Greetings, it is TVB, and I'm here tonight to review a new film directed by John Lee Hancock named The Little Things, which stars Denzel Washington, Ramie Malek, and Jared Leto as Denzel Washington and Ramie Malek play a sergeant and a sheriff who are tasked to crack down on a case of serial killings, if that's even a word. Yeah, there's a lot of murder going on in Los Angeles, and they have to figure out who the culprit is, while Denzel Washington's character is dealing with his difficult past. I saw a trailer for this movie not too long ago, and I went into it not really knowing to expect. Like, okay, it's a January movie, this is a time of year where a lot of really bad, mediocre films come out. But you know what? These are three Oscar-winning actors to talk about right here. You got Denzel Washington, Ramie Malek, who played Freddie Mercury in Bohemian Rhapsody, and Jared Leto, who won an Oscar back in 2013 for Dallas Buyers Club, I believe. Yeah, so this movie had a lot of promise. I think mystery thrillers like this, when done properly, can be some of the most well-written, well-engaging stories that you could ever ask for. Like, because a poorly written thriller kind of has like nothing to build on. Like, you could have a poorly written action movie still be enjoyable if there's like good enough action scenes to go with it. But a thriller is one of those types of genres that like thrives off an engaging screenplay. And the screenplay in this movie, it was what I was kind of expecting it to be, and that was mediocre January film. Let's get this out of the way. Technically speaking, the film is on point. Sound work, the visuals, the cinematography, that's all spot on. This film had really solid direction and also had a really fantastic score by the one and only Thomas Newman, one of my favorite composers. The score that he made for this film is really captures like the essence of like a mystery thriller. So that was very tight. But I will say that I think where this movie's heart lies, or where it tried to lie at least, is with the characters played by Denzel Washington, Malek, and Leto. This is where I feel like the film kind of falls flat on its face, is that like not much happens throughout this movie. Like, yeah, there's people being murdered and there's the serial killer going around. It's like, there's dead bodies and they gotta crack down on cases, but like they could have done a lot better with those. And like they try building up this backstory for Denzel Washington's character. Like throughout the film, he hallucinates and has like visions of his like dark past or whatever, but it's really not fleshed out well. It's like, what happened in his past, and why does it still haunt him so much to this day? That's never really established what made him into what he is nowadays. To be fair, I did have to get up in the middle of this movie to refill my drink, which I'm not too sure is allowed in this day and age. I mean, if it isn't, well, sue me, I guess. But yeah, like, there's just so much that could have happened that didn't. And the performances were very solid for the most part. Like, Denzel Washington, Rami Malek really give it their all. But Jared Leto, on the other hand, I never thought I'd hear myself say this about like a performance, but his portrayal as this creepy like killer dude is both wooden and over the top at the same time. He talks like this the entire movie, and his eyes are constantly bugging out of his head. He managed to be very creepy and just psychotic without dressing up like how he did in the Joker for Suicide Squad. Wow. That's quite a first. Yeah, I wasn't really a fan of Jared Leto's character. I mean, people that were in the theater that were leaving the screening with me after the film ended were saying like, "Oh yeah, he made the movie good. He made the movie funny." Yeah, like there is some humor in how corny and over the top he is, but like it was kind of like watching a live action cartoon character. Just Jared Leto. What happened, buddy? I had to take. I didn't wear my sweatshirt when I started this review. Then I put it on because I got chilly. Then I took it off because I got all toasty again. But anyway, I feel like the biggest issue with The Little Things, it's wasted potential. And this is like a issue I've been seeing with a lot of movies lately. It's like they have engaging premises and a solid cast and a solid director and maybe like good technical work, but the script and the story and the premise is like too generic, and there's not enough like original thrills to really keep it going. Like, this film had a lot going for it. Like, they really could have done better with Denzel Washington's past and made this film, like, more, I guess, twists and turns. Like, the ending, without spoiling it, just ends very abruptly. I feel like the movie's gonna go on for longer than it did because the pacing is pretty slow and dull. And the film, like, this thing just happens, like, out of nowhere. And then the movie kind of just cuts it short right after that. And it just left me feeling very dissatisfied. So yeah, The Little Things, like a lot of movies in this, genre, like, It could have been better. I feel like this movie just kind of, suffered from a bad case of, like, January mediocreness-itis, I guess you could say. I mean, which, isn't entirely the studio's fault because, the pandemic and stuff like that. But regardless, I'm giving the little things a 4 out of 10 stars. It's a forgettable film. So I know this movie is available on HBO Max. And for those of you who are living in areas with like where your local theaters are actually open, like, in this day and age with the pandemic going on, like, do you still go to the movie theaters? Or if the movie you want to see is available on HBO Max or Disney Plus or Netflix or whatever else, do you just watch it there instead? Like, so streaming services or going to the theaters, like, in this day and age, like, what do you guys prefer? And let me know why in the comments down below. And subscribe to this channel, please, and follow me on Instagram and stuff like that. Links are in the description. Thank you so much for watching. My name is TVB9. I'm signing off. Stay beastly.